What is going on, family? Goofy Rexy here, and hope everybody is doing well. In today's video, guys, we're going to be going through the top 10 characters, free-to-play characters that you should be investing into if you are an early player or even a mid-game player. So early to mid-game list here, we did one months ago, so I'm doing an updated one here today, guys. And the criteria for this video is characters that you can get early enough access to that will have impact on your roster, either at the early game point or once you get to that mid game point, which for me, once you get to level 70, once you can start pushing into Dark Dimension 2, that's the criteria that I'm using here in this video, guys. So we're gonna have some big fun with this, guys, these top 10 characters, and we're gonna have some honorable mentions as well, guys. And we're gonna start right now. Welcome back, guys. So like I said, guys, we're going to be going through the top 10 free-to-play characters here for early to mid-game. This is an updated list. We did this months ago, man, and we never made an updated list. And honestly, I feel like with this beginner content, whenever I made these suggestions or mid-game content, I always had to like revisit it and go back to it like 2 months later. So I promise that I will be a little bit more diligent in making sure that I made these updated lists. I know that the last time I did this, that it was helpful for some players to figure out where they should be putting their investment into. Yes, this game is about building out teams to get content done, but there are individual characters that will have some larger impact on your roster. So we're going to be going through what I believe are the top 10 characters for early to mid game players to invest into, characters that I'm currently using right now, as you can see on my beginner account. So this is my beginner account here, and obviously I have my Zemo. We're going to talk about him. He's a part of that list. I figured it was more appropriate to use my beginner series account as opposed to you looking at a G15 Zemo and saying, Goofy, man, I'm an early game player, I can't get a G15 Zemo yet. I'm a mid game player, I can't get a G15 Zemo yet. So therefore I feel like this is a little bit of a better reference. So we're gonna go through obviously where to find the character, the usage and the impact of the character in the game. And yeah, so let's start off with the list, man. The first character obviously on my list is gonna be Baron Zemo. So Baron Zemo can be found in the raid store. As a matter of fact, I recommend that the very first character that you go for in that raid store, don't do anything else. Don't open up raid orbs yet. No, target farm and get Baron Zemo, and then you can open up raid orbs if you choose to. I think he's definitely that impactful. Honestly, for a long time, I thought he was a top 5 character in the game. I think now with the Infinity Watch team being released, that has changed quite a bit, right? I think that he's still definitely a top 10 character. I think the top 5 characters really are your Kestrel, Silver Surfer, characters that are not free to play, really. Well, they are, but they're really, really hard to get. So therefore, let's not even really talk about them. But Baron Zemo, where are you going to find usages for him? So I use them right now in my arena shard. I am building up Infinity Watch a little bit, but I am using him right now in my arena shard. And obviously, he's at gear tier 13 because I use him also as well in Dark Dimension 2. Very good there. Yeah, his health pool is a little bit of an issue, but I found that what he was able to do, the ability blocks, there are a lot of minions in those Dark Dimension 2 nodes. So he was able to disrupt them and take advantage of not being stuck behind a taunt by shield security or by aim assaulter or having to deal with a Kree cyborg that does a lot of damage, surprisingly, in Dark Dimension 2. But seriously, I was able to use him in those areas to get a great amount of usage and impact from him. He's also very impactful in certain other areas of the game, like Villains Chapter 7. Once you get to Villains Chapter 7, man, you're gonna need either hero Hydra characters, you're gonna need Sinister 6 characters, or AIM characters. And I know back in the day we mentioned use a full AIM team. 130k AIM team, 140k AIM team can get the job done for you, but a lot of that was still RNG. You still had to make sure that the nodes played very well. With Zemo and 4 other like Jamokes, literally you can get through that node, those first 3 nodes in Villains Chapter 7, 7.1, 7.2, and 7.3 fairly easy by just building up Zemo. Get him to level 70, gear tier 12, get him to level 70, gear tier 13, And I used four other Sinister 6 characters at level 60 gear tier 10 and was able to 3-star 2 of those nodes. The first one was still challenging. I still can't 3-star it yet, but was able to 3-star the last 2 nodes, which by the way, you don't need to. You just need to beat them so that you can get to the other nodes. But that I found them to be that impactful. So definitely Baron Zemo, get him first in the raid store. He's going to have a lot of impact in a few other areas. And the next character on my list here is going to be Ghost. Now, obviously Ghost is a little challenging to get because she is in that war store. But I find that this is probably one of your better early war store farm investments that you definitely should do. Where I'm using her right now on my beginner account is primarily in Dark Dimension 2. I went in with a couple other characters before being able to bring up Ghost. I brought in another character first, which we're going to talk about, a character that's on this list before I brought in Ghost in the Dark Dimension 2. And while I was able to get through the content fine, I found that honestly, the Dark Dimension 2 run was significantly easier once I brought in Ghost. She does a lot of things that she's doing for your team. Obviously, let's talk about it, right? Offense down, which is very big. Taking less damage is an important thing. Offense down. She's also able to counter. So if she gets hit, she's able to counter, which is going to allow her to reduce the speed bar. Whenever she attacks with her basic, she's also going to be reducing that speed bar of an enemy character. That 15% drain right now, getting to 15%, I only got the 10% drain because I haven't tier 4'd her ultimate ability, but that 10 to 15% drain is very big. Also being able to extend those negative effects, I think, is also very good as well. So Dark Dimension 2, Dark Dimension 3, Dark Dimension 4, she's going to be an insane character that you're going to want to invest into. So getting her investment early, I think, although you may not use her that much early, I definitely still think that the investment that you put into her is going to yield long-term dividend. Not only that, she can also be helpful early too. I used her early enough in Arena once I was able to get her and use her in a few of those areas. It will take some time for you to unlock her, right? She's 100 shard unlock, but I do think that she's one of the better characters to get in that war store. And then of course, once you get to the ISO campaign, you need global characters in order to be able to get through the content. And if you're going wave 1 Avengers, you're still going to be short 1 character because you may have skipped Iron Man. You're still going to be short 1 character because Thor is not a wave 1, is not a global character. He's cosmic and mystic. So Ghost was actually a slot in for me in that ISO campaign once I got to it and I was able to use her and get through the content fine. So definitely, I still think Dark Dimension, she's amazing, but in some other areas too. She also unlocks Jubilee. Jubilee leads to Adam Warlock, so why not invest and get some good usage out of Ghost earlier on. Next character on my list here, I'm sorry, this is going to be a theme. War store characters, Minerva. Minerva is currently right now in the war store, but she's a 45 shard unlock, and I definitely think that probably one of the first characters that you should get is definitely Minerva. Probably the first character that you should get here is Minerva from that war store. And I'll talk about why. So usages, where I'm using her right now on my beginner account. So I used her, I'm not using her anymore in Arena, but I used to use her in Arena early enough to be able to get some good, decent war Arena attacks done. Her res, I found that her res was extremely important. The heals, not so much, but I found that her ability to resurrect a character, if I was using Zemo. So being able to have her revive Zemo comes back on spawn, he's blowing up, he's clearing positive effects. I definitely think that Minerva provided that impact, but really the where Minerva had the most impact for me was when I started to do these Ultimates raids. That was really where I started to see her impact. Talking about those reses were very important once I started doing these Ultimates raids. Like, yeah, the wave 1 Avengers are cool, but they're not great in these. Once you start doing these higher Ultimates raids, your 6.1, 6.2, once you start doing those higher difficulties, they kind of tend to fall off because you're not a team that's built for sustain. So Minerva definitely provided that value. In Dark Dimension 2, she's still going to be one of your biggest damage dealers. I know she's a support character. She's the biggest damage dealer. That 15% heal, 15% health steal is still a 15% health steal and more damage than most of the characters are going to do in Dark Dimension 2. Now, Kestrel and Silver Surfer will do some buku damage, but I do still think that Minerva provides that value. Also, she's doing the health steal and she's giving it to every character on your team, as opposed to where Ghost is only, she's doing the health steal, but she's only giving it to other Pim Tech characters herself. So therefore you're gonna get some significant heals, being able to do that 15% heal, redistributing to all your characters. You're going from zero, sometimes from the red all the way up to full. You're going from red all the way up to full health, which is extremely impactful. She's also very good in Dark Dimension 3, Dark Dimension 4 as well. I'm using her right now in Doom Raid. So early investment that is going to yield long-term dividend. You're going to see a theme here when I'm talking about some of these early to mid-game characters that are on this list. So definitely Minerva is great, guys. Definitely invest into her. You're going to find a lot of impact. You're going to get a lot of impact with her usage. Mr. Sinister, another War Store character. I know. Now, this is probably one that you can probably wait on for a little bit, right? Once you get sort of probably to that closer to the mid-game point, this is where probably you can go with Mr. Sinister. I still think largely, though, as a free-to-play character, he's definitely a must-get when you have an opportunity to get him from that War Store. Impactful in a lot of different areas. I know Kestrel has kind of ruined what he's able to do in certain areas like Arena. For a long time, I used to use on my main account a combo with Minerva, with Sinister, Emma, Doc Ock, but since the release of Kestrel, that's changed things, and of course now with Infinity Watch, it has changed things quite a bit. But I still do think that from a early to mid game point, you're still going to find a lot of value and usage out of Mr. Sinister, even more so probably in your Dark Dimension runs, Dark Dimension 2, Dark Dimension 3, and of course Dark Dimension 4. He makes Dark Dimension 3 a little bit more manageable. Dark Dimension 3 in general is just abysmal. But with Mr. Sinister there, you can get some valuable clones that will have some large impact. Dark Dimension 2, you can get some valuable clones that will have some large impact. He also does have a pretty good heal that is very good. On spawn, he's getting himself 3 ability energy, so which helps with some of the long cooldowns that he has on some of his stat kits, right? So I definitely do think that Mr. Sinister is still a valuable character in the game. Yes, Kestrel does eliminate a lot of the stuff that he's able to do, but I do think that he can be a pretty decent plug and play character. Even once you get to war, you can start using him to do some of those clones in war, early wars. You can definitely still get some value, but I think where Mr. Sinister has the most impact, for me at least, is definitely in those dark dimensions, and that's a very important game mode. Next character on this list for me is Hela. Now Hela's going to be a little bit more challenging because of just where you're going to, the time frame it's going to take for you to get her. Outside of, before you get to level 70, you're kind of just going to have to get lucky or spend to get offers for Hela. That's kind of just the reality of it. Once you do get to level 70 and you get through those first 3 nodes, and then you're able to get to 7-4, 7-5, 7-6, which you're going to need a Mystic Villain team in Villains Chapter 7 to get it done. I have a video that explains or goes through how I was able to do that on my channel, so check that out. I think once because of that challenge, you know, she's more of a mid-game character as opposed to, let's say, a must-have once you get to the early game. Once you do get to early game, though, you can definitely still use her. She still will provide you some impact on your roster. Usages where you can get some good value out of her. I think Arena is still good. Yeah, of course, you're going to lose Ghost if you're going up against other Kestrels, but with her ultimate ability, you're still spreading, you know, 2 negative effects, right? And if you're tier 4 it, you're spreading 4 negative effects. There's still things that she's doing with her kit that I think is incredibly valuable. She's clearing death proofs on the basics. She can disrupt. So yeah, sure, of course, you're losing Greg, but you're still getting a lot of really good impact out of her kit on your roster. Not only that, she's used to unlock 3 legendary characters. Now, directly, she's used to unlock only 2 legendary characters, Phoenix and also Black Bolt. Black Bolt, though, does lead to Ebony Maw, so therefore she kind of unlocks 3 legendaries when you think about it, right? She can also be used in some other areas in this game. Dark Dimension 2, Dark Dimension 3, Dark Dimension 4. You're going to find a lot of impact. What about late game? What other late game stuff can she do? She's also used right now in those Doom raids. I'm using her right now in the Mystic section of these Doom raids. She is very, very, very good. So I think Hela's still on this list. An earlier character, the Asgardian team, or a much, not a more recent character, but still the Asgardian team, not good anymore, but still hella provides still a lot of really good impact on your roster. If not for anything else, just being able to unlock those 3 legendary characters, I think, is one of the reasons to invest into her. But you can also get some solid usage out of her in other areas of the game as well, which I find to be very impactful. She's also a cosmic character, so if you do get her, you can use her in her cosmic campaign. Mystic campaign, you can also use her in the mystic campaign as well. I should have mentioned that with some of these other characters, like Minerva. She's a cosmic character. You can use her for the cosmic campaign. I used her there on my roster. I talked about her in the ISO campaign, Ghost in the ISO campaign. So there are a few other areas of the game that are important where you can also use some of these characters as well. All right, let's jump into the next character on this list. Now, this one for me, I'll be honest, is a little controversial. I didn't want to put this character on this list, but I'm going to tell you now, I'm going to put Longshot on this list, who's also in the War Store. So I felt like I kind of had to throw Shatterstar on this list as well. The Dabros. The Dabros are very good, one of the best tandems in Marvel Strike Force. What I don't like about Shatterstar, though, is that he's primarily in the Arena Orb, so you're kind of going to have to open up Arena Orbs and then get lucky with getting Shatterstar. So for me, this is more of a mid-game sort of talk, right? But once you do get to the mid-game point, once you can start, so there's a few things. We talked about Villains Chapter 7, we talked about Heroes Chapter 7, we talked about your Nexus campaign, we talked about your Doom camp. Now we're going to talk about your Doom campaign, right? In the early portion of the Doom campaign, you have an option. The only 2 options that you have are Hero Mutant or Hero Inhuman. And being that Phoenix is kind of difficult to get, it kind of makes it a little bit more challenging for you to really get a solid, good Hero Mutant character, or get solid Hero Mutant characters. If you don't have Black Bolt, it's kind of hard for you to use Hero Inhuman characters. So your other options really are characters like Shatterstar and characters like Longshot. Now, Longshot, significantly easier to get because he's in the War Store. Granted, yes, war credits are a thing, and it will take some time for you to accumulate those. But once again, we're talking about mid-game point, level 70, right? Level 70 and forward, getting Ultron. That's the mid-game point. That's what this list is about here. So Shatterstar, Longshot, I think definitely had to be on this list. They are free to play. They are harder to get, mainly Shatterstar, but they are definitely free to play. And because they are Hero Mutant characters, once you T4 their passives, because of the speed, because of their damage, you're going to be able to have a much easier time to get through that early portion of the Doom campaign by having Shatterstar and Longshot. Not only that, they unlock the legendary Adam Warlock. Now, we all have our thoughts about Adam Warlock not necessarily being mythic legendary-esque, but either way, he is still a very impactful legendary in this game, I think. He's on the best team in the game, so therefore, I still think that you have to refer to him as an important legendary in Marvel Strike Force. And Shatterstar and Longshot, they will have a lot of really good, they're very good in Dark Dimension 3. Dark Dimension 4, they're very good. You can also use them in some of those areas as well. But you're gonna want to get stars on them. And if you can also get Shatterstar from the Gamma Raid orb as well, which she actually lands pretty frequently there. So there's opportunities for you to be able to land Shatterstar by the time you do get to that mid-game point. So that's the reason why I do have him on this list. Now, next character on this list, probably the best character on this list right now, is Gamora. And we got to group her in with Nebula. So we've already kind of talked about a couple characters that are already on this list already that you haven't seen yet, but we're going to talk about Gamora now. I think her rework is probably the best rework that I've seen in Marvel Strike Force in a long time. For a character that was completely unusable, her and Nebula, for characters that were really unusable, didn't really do much in the game, being able to get their rework done is just insane. You can find Gamora pretty easily. She's in the Blitz store. If you're opening up Blitz orbs early, you're gonna land accidental shards for Gamora. So I definitely think that because of what you can do here, that it's impactful for you to be able to get her. I don't even think I need to talk and say much about Gamora, to be honest. She's just amazing, right? But let's talk about some other areas where you can get usage out of her. She's a hero character, hero campaign. She's a cosmic character. You can use her in the cosmic campaign. She's a guardian character. So once you get to Nexus, you can either use Asgardian characters in the Nexus 8. Once you get to Nexus 8, you have an option of Guardian characters or using Asgardian characters, I believe. So you can use Gamora. I think Gamora can also be used. Let me pause on that. I think she can be used in the Doom campaign, the chapter 1 of the Doom campaign. I'm not sure yet, but I know that there's a lot of other areas that she can be used. Arena. If you have Nebula and Gamora, you should definitely be trying to use them in Arena. That's the reason why I've kind of put some investment into Gamora right now. I finally have some T3s to put into her, so I'm going to be doing that once this video is done. Man, T3s on a beginner account are really hard to come by, so struggle buggle, man. But yeah, Gamora, I definitely think is an impactful character. There's not really much that I need to say about her. She's just damn good, right? Next character on this list, we talked about Longshot already, so I'm not going to talk about Longshot here. Night Nurse. Night Nurse is the next character, actually going to be the last character that I'm going to talk about, because the next character here is Nebula. And well, we'll talk briefly about Nebula, but Night Nurse. Night Nurse, once again, another one of those great. I thought her rework was actually one of the best reworks, was the best rework in Marvel Strike Force that I've seen. But with Gamora and Nebula now, they've kind of taken the cake. But Night Nurse, I still think extremely impactful on my roster. So I am trying to, it's like a slow build with Night Nurse right now. There's so many areas where I could definitely use her. I use her for Hero Chapter 7, the Hero City section. There's a block party that rolls around. And honestly, whenever I do need some, there are some modes sometimes where I just need some additional healing. Night Nurse could definitely be really, really helpful for me, but I just have not been able to put as much investment into her as I would like to. But on my main account right now, I use her so often. I use her in the skill raids and the skill doom raids. I use her for some of the city block content, or the any hero city content that I need. I use her on the Shadowland team, where they're a phenomenal war offense team. So there's really a lot of impact that Night Nurse can have on your roster here. And I think that early when you start playing, it's going to be hard for you to get characters like Symbiote Spider-Man. It's going to be hard to get AV, like almost impossible to get him from those premium orbs. I think that trying to land shards for Night Nurse will definitely help you in some of these areas in the game. So I definitely think that you should try to get some really good rework, really good added sustain. She can clear negative effects. She has low cooldowns on her abilities. I just think that she's very impactful. Like I said, one of the best reworks, I think, in Marvel Strike Force. Last character, which you guys already saw on this list, is Nebula. Honestly, I don't really need to say much about Nebula, so I'm not going to say much about Nebula, but other areas where you can use her, Cosmic Campaign, that's one. She's a tech character, so you can use her for those new challenges. I forgot to mention these new challenges, guys. You can use these characters in these new challenges. Nebula, Gamora, they are the best characters in the game, but that's pretty much it for this list. There were some honorable mentions that I thought about here that definitely I thought that I should at least talk about. Black Widow, for me, I think is a honorable mention character. I'm finding that Black Widow has a lot of impact now in this game. Since her rework as well, Wave 1 Avenger rework, and also now the rework where she's good with the skilled military team. But I just think that she's a very largely impactful character in this game. So getting Black Widow and putting some more investment into Black Widow, if you're already going the Wave 1 Avengers route, I think is very good. Yo-Yo's now available in the raid store. Once you're done farming your Zemo, opening up those raid orbs, grabbing some shards when you have the credits for it to get Yo-Yo. As long as you're not depleting your raid credits, I think is also a good way to go. Yo-Yo you can now use to unlock Ebony Maw. There's really a lot of really good things that you can use Yo-Yo for. Yo-Yo's offense down is amazing. So yeah, listen, when I had to unlock Ebony Maw, I did not have Yo-Yo to use, and trust me, those nodes would have gotten significantly easier had I had Yo-Yo as an option to invest into to unlock Ebony Maw and get a 7-star Ebony Maw, but unfortunately didn't have that option. So trust me, anybody who right now who is going to look to get that unlocked for Ebony Maw, make sure that you use Yo-Yo. It's going to be significantly easier for you to do so. Magneto, I thought about Magneto as well. I think that although Magneto is not like a top tier character, I still find that every mode, every game, every war that I do right now, there's always some area where I'm like, yeah, BH 2.0 can take this team, and I bring them in and they take the team. He's a great free-to-play option. You can get him fairly easily. You can get him by accident. Seriously, Wolverine, you're going to get the 6 stars, 7 stars anyways, and then you can get some other characters literally by accident by opening up Blitz orbs. Toad, this is really kind of, if you want to farm X23, who's another character maybe that should be honorable mention on this list here. That's another character as well, that Magneto is another character that can also be used. And Beast, so we talked about Beast with a little bit here when we mentioned Phoenix, and we talked about the hero mutant section in those early Doom campaigns. Beast is also another really good viable option used on the X-Men team, so really a lot of really good areas where you can get some value out of Beast here. But that's gonna be it for me on this list, guys. Let me know, what other characters do you think should be added to this list? Maybe what characters do you think I should take off this list? But I think my list is pretty solid. But appreciate you guys watching the video. Hit the like button, guys. Share the video. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel already. Check out the links below, guys. Follow me on Twitch so that you can see when I stream Marvel Strike Force content weekly. And yeah, just check out on the list, Amazon coins. If you're looking to save some money here on your Marvel Strike Force in-game purchases or mobile in-game purchases, then check out Amazon coins, guys. That's how I'm able to save some money here in the game as someone that doesn't spend. Try to keep a budget on my spending here. Definitely Amazon coins has been helping where that is concerned. But appreciate you guys watching the video. Y'all be blessed and y'all be safe. Woo, baby, let's go. All right, 9:13 a.m. breakfast time. Let's get it.